You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room.
You're looking at three people on your screens, you're listening to three people, and there are two other guys who are sitting behind the camera and operating the sound system. Guys who haven't slept, disappointed, heartbroken with what happened in Ahmedabad on the 19th of November. Australia, deserving world champions. They've lifted the World Cup for the sixth time. They've been crazy good in the final. They were bottom of the points table after losing the opening games to India and South Africa more than a month and a half back. India, the hosts, who were the red hot favourites really, with the supreme level of cricket that they played since the 8th of October, winning 10 matches on the trot, finishing on top of the group stages obviously, Virat Kohli finishing as the leading run scorer, Mohammad Shami finishing as the leading wicket taker, Rohit Sharma second highest run scorer with that frenetic strike rate. All of that in the final, it was just so disappointing because Rohit Sharma got off to a great start. So just to lay down some context, India were asked to bat after Pat Cummins won the toss. Rohit Sharma said he would have also batted had he won the toss. India managed only 240. Australia did not have to drop a sweat as they reached home with 6 wickets to spare, winning the World Cup in style. Also, the fact is, India, were they nervous? Was the batting approach too timid? Like we discussed in the lead up to the final, Akshay, Saurabh, you cannot brush aside the phenomenal performances from the Indian boys. Yeah. They were so good. Rohit Sharma's captaincy, Shami's bowling, Bumrah and Siraj with the new ball, the two spinners, Jadeja and Kuldeep. Virat Kohli was Bradman-esque. Every time he came into the pitch, apart from that game against Pakistan and England, he scored at least a half century. He also did that in the final, finishing with 765 runs in the 2023 World Cup. Nobody's ever done that. But again, the season finale of the Sledging Room, we all started this podcast nearly 2 years back, hoping India would break that ICC jinx. That drought still continues. We had the chance to see India win the T20 World Cup last year. We had the chance to see India win the World Test Championship earlier in the year, and then the ODI World Cup. Didn't happen. But at least we could proudly say we're signing over the Asia Cup. That was also a phenomenal achievement. But Akshay, get any sleep last night?
As in, it's even very difficult to think what we're going to see. I still think that, I still have a feeling that we are doing episode 85 here and the final will be played a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Is there a way to play a rematch for this?
No spring in the bat this time.
I mean, yeah, you can. You need to go back to your sleep and have a dream. That is all you want to do.
What are your first thoughts, both of you? What did you think after the final ball was bowled or after Travis
I wouldn't even go as far as the final ball. We were talking about it last evening. The two things about the toss. Pat Cummins won the toss and decided to bowl. And then Rohit Sharma said he would have batted anyway. So the toss was taken out of the equation, right? India played the conditions and they were perhaps beaten by the conditions, but that is not an excuse because a lot of the Indian guys have grown up playing on dry pitches. And was the pitch a minefield? I don't think so.
No.
It wasn't. Rohit Sharma batted on the same strip. He was as good as ever. I still can't fathom the criticism around Rohit Sharma. He doesn't deserve to be criticized. He's played like that throughout the campaign and you would stand up and applaud.
47 of 31.
Yes. And he thought he wanted to...
He had hit Maxwell for a 6 and a 4 in that over.
He probably wanted to hit Maxwell for 20.
Yes.
Before the ball became
Take
even
him
softer.
completely out of the attack. That might have been the...
And destroy Australia's plan because he knows what Maxwell is capable of doing on a pitch like that. He's Maxwell and Travis Head. I mean, even with Travis Head, had Rohit Sharma been around, he would have gone after Travis Head. Now, what happened? Shubman Gill did not play his part. He wasn't supposed to be the aggressor. He just played a half-hearted pull shot. Again, while we're raising these questions, these are pertinent questions to raise because, nothing can undo that phenomenal run of 10 victories. Yeah. Nobody's taking that away. We all feel for the boys. But Akshay, you made a very good point before the podcast and saying this is not just about one match. You've had these big match hiccups for 10 years now. Yeah. 10 years. Over the last 10 years, you had the chance to win 10 ICC events. Not even if you didn't win all of them, you had the chance to bring home some silverware. Hasn't happened. Shubman Gill played out of character. That wasn't his game plan. Rohit Sharma was the only one who walked the talk.
Yes.
Virat Kohli to an extent, yes, because he's played the anchor's role.
Yeah.
Now comes the part where we were all fretting over. Somebody asked me yesterday, do you think India are going to win with 240? I said, you can't possibly win when you have only hit 4 boundaries in 40 overs. I'll tell you what. My mood was ruined after the Indian innings. Was it a timid batting approach, Akshay?
Like there's the thing, Raj, playing to the conditions, giving yourself that time before getting. Yes, India kept losing wickets. Virat Kohli got out at an unfortunate stage. But if you look at their 109 ball partnership, there was not a single boundary hit between Virat Kohli and KL Rahul.
Yeah.
See, if you're going to win the final, how do you win a final? By playing fearless. You did that throughout the tournament. Semi-finals questions were asked. A lot of people asked whether Rohit Sharma can do it, whether Shreyas Iyer can do it, whether Virat Kohli can do it. But all of them stepped up. In the final, you knew, don't lie here, as in you knew that there will be dew. At least after 8 o'clock. And 240 was never going to be enough. Never going to be enough against this Australian side. So there was no difference. If you had gone for it and gotten out for 180, I would have been happy. If you had gone for it, gone for the shots and gotten out for 180, I would have been happy. But I couldn't fathom that approach from KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. Yes, Pat Cummins was stunning with captaincy, the bowling changes, the fielding. Yes. But what can explain 4 boundaries in the last 40 overs? What can explain that?
KL Rahul did not hit a single boundary till Virat Kohli was at the wicket.
Exactly.
He finished with 1 boundary from 107 balls. Even
That's
Virat Kohli
20
did not
overs.
attempt.
That's
Exactly.
More than 35-40% of your innings.
You are playing in a World Cup final. Can you not even attempt to rotate the strike? Forget boundaries. Even if you said the pitch was very difficult to bat on, which we don't think it was.
Yes.
Could you even not rotate the strike?
That is the main point. See, you can come up and say that Australian fielders were at their best.
They were.
And kudos to Australia. They had a game plan and they were executing that game plan. But you as a team have taken pride in scoring freely, first of all. Second thing, if you are not able to score freely, 2 of the best ODI batters in this World Cup, Virat Kohli and KL Rahul, are out in the middle. Why not rotate the strike?
Yeah.
I mean, you keep taking 4-5 runs of every over. You could have seen the pressure mounting on Pat Cummins. How many plans you could have had? Yeah. And you were the best team in this World Cup. You were the host. You have played in these conditions throughout your life. Every player. I mean, that batting approach, I was baffled by what they were doing.
Yeah.
Especially after what Rohit Sharma did. Rohit Sharma batted. He is the true leader. He walked the talk
at the end of 10 overs.
Exactly. And he was not stopping at anything. Yeah. He got out in that manner only. And people are criticizing. I don't know why they are criticizing. Virat Kohli, yes, he did rotate the strike. What about KL Rahul?
Yeah.
And Suryakumar Yadav too, when he came onto the pitch. And one more question. I want to raise one more question. Why does Kuldeep Yadav bat lower down the order? Bumrah and Shami come above him. Why?
I think potent questions again. But I think, if you look at it that way, KL Rahul also put undue pressure on Virat Kohli.
Yeah. And
who was the aggressor? Who was the anchor?
Exactly.
Could you have 2 anchors playing together?
No.
Not in
modern ODI cricket in a World Cup final.
No, even Saurabh, that trend has gone, right? Even the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that final 20 years ago. Australia piled up 314.
Yes.
That trend has gone.
Look at the final 12 years ago. India were 30 odd for 2, chasing 275 against a very good Sri Lankan bowling attack.
Top quality Sri Lankan bowling.
Had Gambhir done what KL Rahul did in the final, if you see that partnership, I still remember, first shot of Gambhir was a flick over the fine leg fielder of Malinga or Kulasekara. And throughout that partnership, Gambhir was trying to keep the scoreboard moving while Virat Kohli played a very crucial knock, holding one end.
Not even when he was holding one end, he constantly rotated the strike.
Yes.
And because that, when you think of Gautam Gambhir, the kind of innings he's played under pressure.
Yes.
2007 T20 World Cup final, 2011 World Cup final.
Yeah.
Youngsters today who may not remember that era or who haven't watched cricket from that era, just go back and watch those highlights and see that fluency, because those guys came out with a clear plan. Gambhir, he's an ace cricketer, fearless.
That fearless is the key word.
Fearlessness, exactly, right? Now, Virat Kohli, I don't want to question him too much here, because now lot of
that
people are
has
saying
been his role.
A lot of people are saying, look at his strike rate, 85. No, look, put that into perspective again. While Rohit Sharma was at the crease, Virat Kohli's strike rate was in the high 120.
24 of 14
By then,
balls
it had
or 13
also
balls.
dipped to 100, and from there on, he finished with 85 because he did not hit a single boundary after Shreyas Iyer got out. Did the pitch change dramatically? KL Rahul decided to just hold. Both batsmen are holding a dropping anchor. No rotation, no strike rotation. You're not trying to put anybody under pressure. You knew that Maxwell, Mitchell Marsh and Travis Head would be the fifth bowler combination for Australia. You let them get away with it so economically. Glenn Maxwell was attacked by Rohit Sharma and he wanted to possibly hit him out of the attack altogether to make matters more complicated for Australia. Because if you had done that to Glenn Maxwell and Travis Head on a slow pitch, on a dry pitch, that would have been 20% of the mind games won.
The moment
and you can't criticize Rohit Sharma for that.
No.
The moment you allow the likes of Travis Head, Mitchell Marsh and Glenn Maxwell to settle in front of your home crowd.
Yeah.
Look at what Dhoni did. As in, quite a few even say that, okay, Dhoni promoted himself. Anyone could have done that. Anyone could have finished that. But attacking Muthaiya Muralidharan, one of the greatest spinners. Okay, he was at the later stage of his career.
But actually, he was determined. It was his last ODI.
It was his last ODI. And Muralidharan, even now Muralidharan is Muralidharan. And to attack him like that, just go out and take those risks. 240, like I said earlier, 240 is not going to be enough. You either perish for 180 or push it to 280. And 280 or 270, anything over 275 would have given you that psychological edge. Imagine 47 for 3, Travis Head, and then chasing 280. And then Australians looking at 241 and then 280. It could have made a difference.
Absolutely.
No, the difference, it all started with the toss. Yes. Now, you can't say that, look, the toss happened, we were asked to bat. Because, like I said, you anyway wanted to bat. Yeah. Again, while
or if you had said that as a moral moral boosting thing for the
Yeah, possibly.
Then,
because that's different. But my point is, look, again, when we're asking questions of the final, let us not downplay everything that the Indian team did in the lead up to it. Beat Australia. They came back from nowhere to beat Australia after that collapse. Then that game against Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, England, they were phenomenal. South Africa, even that semi-final against New Zealand. Exactly. People talked about whether they would be able to walk the talk with their high intent. They did that. What happens in these crunch games again, the final? It's not like the pitch changed its nature dramatically between the 10th and the 11th over. Within a space of 0 overs, the pitch couldn't have changed the nature of the pitch. Yeah. It was just down to intent. And it was Rohit Sharma's intent. He saw Shubman Gill get out. I don't think the captain was too happy with what Shubman Gill did.
Yeah.
I don't know what Shreyas Iyer was trying to achieve by just prodding at... Pat Cummins would have been elated. It was a wicket out of nowhere.
Yeah. And Shreyas Iyer was I think that was... after Rohit Sharma, I think Shreyas Iyer's wicket was the most crucial.
Yes.
He would not have allowed Travis Head or Glenn Maxwell to settle on that pitch. He would have lofted them into the stands a couple of times and altered their lengths. KL Rahul is as good a player of spin, but I don't know.
No, you have
what
to
happened.
ask questions of KL Rahul at this stage also. He was phenomenal as a wicketkeeper throughout the World Cup. I think the best wicketkeeper on show. He was great with his DRS calls. He played a couple of really good innings. Really, really good innings. And then, that final. Just couldn't get a move on. But really, Dravid said it wasn't timid batting. But what did it look like from the outset? Were they just too intimidated by Australia's fielding and their body language? Because look at India's body language later in the evening.
Exactly. I mean, you can come up and say Australia's body language, fielding and all. But you played 10 matches. You won those 10 matches comprehensively. Your team was the best team. And people were saying, a lot of experts were saying, give India the World Cup. You don't need to play the final. Yeah. What happens in the final? You come up, Rohit Sharma comes, he walks the talk. And KL Rahul, come on, yaar. Yeah. You're playing in front of your home crowd, 130,000 Indians. A sea of blue was there in Ahmedabad in that Narendra Modi Stadium. You could not do that. You did not even try to attack the Australian bowlers. That is the most infuriating part.
And also with Surya Kumar Yadav. He comes in at number 7. So you don't trust him enough. And Surya Kumar, does he trust himself enough?
Yes.
At one time, when he was batting with Kuldeep Yadav, I think out of 10 balls, he had farmed the strike and gave strike to Kuldeep Yadav on 8 of those deliveries.
Yes.
Batting with the tail, as in, I don't know. As in, we have had players who batted. VVS Lakshman, for that example. MS Dhoni.
Virat Kohli himself.
Virat Kohli. So many people are experts. As in,
Rahane.
I don't know.
I mean, you are a batter. You don't bowl. You are a specialist batter. And your role, as it was told by the management, is to finish games. Give you a good finish at the end of the innings. But you yourself don't trust yourself.
Tell me, how many times in this World Cup has Surya Kumar Yadav been tested? England, yes, I think that was a crucial innings. Those 49 runs obviously helped towards the end. India anyway won by 100 runs. Maybe they would have won even if Surya didn't get as many. But I'm just saying that was an important knock. You can't take that away. But look at the context of the final. On a difficult pitch, you're renowned for your 360-degree shot. You're someone who wanted to play one-day cricket. Obviously, lucky to be in that World Cup side. You also lucky in the World Cup to be in that World Cup 11. You wouldn't have got anywhere near that 11 had Hardik Pandya been fit.
Or Rishabh Pant been fit.
What they missed, Hardik and Rishabh Pant. Think back of that ODI against England when India were in trouble, chasing a high, target, and then Pant and Hardik stepped in.
As in,
I don't think Hardik would have batted like that.
Definitely. As in, on the other hand, if you look at it, it's skills. Yeah. Surya has the skills to go after bowlers in T20 cricket. But Pat Cummins, you have to give credit to the Australian team, especially when, they took out Surya Kumar's strength from the game. Yeah. They did not give him those pace to work with. And it was a big stadium. Keep that in mind. Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad is not as small as a Wankhede or a Delhi.
It's difficult to defend with your fielders.
Definitely.
But Australia did really well.
No pace with Pat Cummins, slower ball bouncers. And he had the third man very fine. And whenever Surya tried to play that lap shot, there was a fielder cutting down the boundary. All that was executed wonderfully well. But at the end of the day, you have to rise above those challenges. Surya had a superb opportunity to become, a hero for India in the World Cup final. So did KL, so did everyone. But
these cricketers could have been the toast of the nation had they won the World Cup.
Yeah. Are they not the toast?
For me, I think they still are. I'll tell you why. Because they changed the way India has approached limited overs cricket. Right? Rohit Sharma with that batting effort. Virat Kohli, that level of consistency is mind-boggling. Mohammad Shami, every time, even in that final, comes on, gets a wicket. Jasprit Bumrah, virtually unplayable with the new ball. Apart from a couple of games here and there, can happen.
But like you asked, Raj, what is the difference between a New Zealand side and an Indian side now? New Zealand are consistently reaching the finals, but they have also not won anything except the World Test Championship
final. What is the difference between a South African side and Indian side? We call them chokers. What are we?
I don't think we choked.
It was completely outplayed.
We were completely outplayed.
As in, what is the difference?
No, but you have not been able to win ICC trophies in the last 10 years.
Because
And you lose knockout games, you lose semi-finals.
I'll tell you what is the difference between India, New Zealand and South Africa. New Zealand and South Africa's cricket boards don't do as much as the Indian board does. Yeah. Okay? Look at what the BCCI enabled you to do. Jasprit Bumrah's injury.
Yes.
We had all almost given up hope. We thought he might not play the ODI World Cup. How is he going in? Yeah. How is he going to come? He's not played any competitive cricket. Fit as a fiddle. 20 wickets. Shreyas Iyer, we were worried because you knew what an asset he was going to be in this World Cup, in these conditions at home. Ruled out of the Asia Cup at the last minute. We were like, oh gosh, maybe it's really bad. Maybe he's not going to be in the World Cup.
Back.
Over 500 runs.
Yes.
KL Rahul, touch and go. Asia Cup, is it a risk? Is the best wicketkeeper and one of the better middle order batters. This is the difference between India and other boards. They've done that. They've given you the platform. You wanted pay hikes? Done. Yeah. You want this? Okay, sir, done. Look after your players. Not just
workload
management.
Yes.
Former Pakistani cricketers will tell you. Former Australian cricketers will tell you. Former England cricketers will tell you. Former Proteas will tell you. The former Black Caps will tell you. The way the Indian Cricket Board looks after its players is unparalleled.
Definitely.
It's unparalleled. And yet, yes, they were phenomenal, but you have to ask questions of what happens with this mentality in these big games.
What happens? How can you both put a finger on something and say that this is the reason why India are not able to win those crunch matches?
Had India lost that semi-final against New Zealand, I would have compensated mental block. But you won that semi-final convincingly. Yeah. You defeated New Zealand. Yeah. I mean, you had a mental block against New Zealand in ICC knockout games. Yeah. You defeated them hands down. And you lose the final. I mean,
maybe should we just say Australia were the better team on the day?
Australia were the better team because you did not perform to your potential. That is what I believe. Yeah. Your batting was not up to the mark. Every other game, I think this was the first game where you got bowled out. Okay, you failed to score anything about 250.
Yeah.
Your batter scored 4 boundaries in last 40 overs.
Yes. And if you look at the games in the previous games.
And then when you came out to defend the total, why was Siraj not the first change bowler?
Yes. Why was Siraj not the new ball bowler?
Yeah.
After what he did to Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup final, after what he did to Sri Lanka again in the tournament, and his only and you bring him after 14th over.
You can ask question of Indian fielding also.
Yes.
You did not go for a catch on the first ball. Had that catch been taken, who knows what could have happened?
Yes.
So you asking me what happened? What is? Can you put your finger on a particular
point?
Nerves. You don't want to use the word timidity, but how else do you explain it? Look at the 3 knockout matches that we played over the last 1 year, exactly last 1 year. India versus England. India batted first. Adelaide Oval. KL Rahul. Rohit Sharma. Slow strike rate. Virat Kohli got 50 or 40 balls. It was left to Hardik Pandya. He got a 63 at a strike rate of nearly 200. Had Hardik Pandya not played that knock, by the way, I mean, you anyway lost by 10 wickets.
Yeah.
I don't know when. It would have been even more embarrassing, but doesn't matter. The World Test Championship, you played great cricket throughout.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even compete.
Yeah.
It's not like you haven't won games in England.
Yes.
It's not like you don't have the experience of playing in England. Not a single cricketer from that setup could have said that. World Cup final, superb throughout. You don't lack in skills. You don't lack in facilities. You don't lack in the opportunities that you've had. Can't. No Indian cricket team can ever complain of that.
Yes.
Not at least not for the last 10-15 years.
Yes.
And again, it's the same problem. Timidity. At least this time, Rohit Sharma walked the talk. Yeah. Throughout the World Cup, he's above criticism. For me, he's above criticism. He led well. He was fantastic as a leader. Not just a captain, as a leader.
Yes.
And because he led by example with the bat.
Yes.
And then, even with Virat Kohli, I think he was the one who needed to preserve that wicket.
Yes.
Because what was the criticism before this World Cup? That Indian batsmen tend to put a very heavy premium on the wickets. Virat Kohli's role was that of an anchor. Both Rohit and Virat played that to perfection. Well, now you could say near perfection because he got out and India lost. Virat, near perfection, but I would have wanted him to rotate the strike a little more.
Yeah.
At least look to hit those boundaries.
Yeah.
But KL Rahul, Surya Kumar Yadav, I mean, lessons have not been learned. Even, by the way, when India started defending that, Bumrah was erratic. Nobody went for that catch that Warner, he got an edge of David Warner. Was it Rohit and, Kohli and Surya Kumar Yadav? I thought it was
My
Surya Kumar's.
simple thought was, Shami, as a first change bowler, has been able to keep pressure with the little older ball. Whereas Siraj, you have never used him with the older ball. And why would you suddenly change that in the final?
You were already 1 bowler down. You had 5 bowlers.
Yes.
When Hardik Pandya got ruled out, you were saying that we don't need a 6 bowler. You needed a 6 bowler yesterday.
No, what was the thing that has worked for you? Shami and Siraj, Bumrah and Siraj relentless with the new ball.
Yes.
And then there is no breathing space with Shami coming back.
Yes.
As the first change bowler.
Yes.
Yesterday, Siraj was the last bowler used. You brought in Kuldeep and Jadeja before that.
We were talking about this at the mid-innings break. It said, look, Shami has to be brought on earlier.
Yeah.
But don't stay until the 8th over, maybe the 6th over. We did not think Shami would come on to bowl with the new ball. Because he's not bowled with the new ball throughout the tournament. It's a lot about control as well. Yeah. I mean, yes, you could argue, but there are 2 new balls. What's the difference? Even with the 3-4 over old ball, it makes a difference because he needs those.
Definitely.
There is a different sort of rhythm that you get into as a player.
And he can control the old ball because of his seam position. And Siraj doesn't have that seam position.
And Siraj has been brilliant with that new ball.
Yes,
he's been erratic. He can get tonked for runs. But you just needed to do what your strength...
But he would have been as fired up as anyone with the new ball, right?
Exactly.
We have seen him. And imagine 20-for-2 and you're looking at Shami next.
Precisely.
Now okay, Siraj is there. Shami, we have seen Shami off. Siraj is there.
Yes. And what does that do to Siraj's confidence when he comes on his third change after the spinners? Now you're confused and you said, okay, the spinners need to come on before the dew settles. And then why didn't you start with Ravindra Jadeja at the other end?
Yeah.
So I think that's where they panicked as well. Those 2-3 major decisions, right? KL Rahul's inability to hit any boundaries. Surya Kumar Yadav, I don't know what he was doing in that position. All he had to do was just 18 or 28. What sort of difference would that have made?
Yeah.
Even if he got out for 5 of 10. At least that would have showed intent. It's not about India losing. It's not even the fact that they lost the final by 6 wickets. It's about how they approached it.
Yeah.
It's about how their batsmen approached it.
Had it been a 2019 semi-final like final, I wouldn't have had any complaints.
Then you would have been genuinely heartbroken.
You tried, you would have been genuinely heartbroken. But this was complete, a one-sided defeat. Okay, let me ask a tough question now. As in, I know the dust hasn't settled in. People need, as in, especially the players, as in, no one would feel more disappointed than the players themselves. Yes. But where do you see this ODI team going? Is it time for Rohit? As in, maybe, does he have, can you give him 2 more years of time? Because there is another cycle of World Cup as well, 4-year cycle.
If you're looking at the
And what
Champions
happens to the
Trophy,
coach?
if you're looking at the Champions Trophy, it's not even 2 more years. 2023 is over.
Yeah.
Right? So you're
November
looking
World
at
Cup.
November.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking at that sort of time frame. As for the ODI World Cup, I think maybe that's a little too far off. But you never know. You could see someone like Virat Kohli, given his fitness and his hunger for runs and his hunger to do something special. He wanted to. All of them wanted to. No player would want to lose the World Cup, I'd say.
Definitely.
They were perhaps too overawed by that occasion. You have to, that is where you have to ask those questions. And somewhere you got to start winning those big games.
So you're saying Rohit continues as captain?
Maybe not till the 2027 World Cup. But I'll tell you what, I'll just wager a wild guess and say I will see Virat Kohli in the 2027 World Cup.
What about
Yeah, see, Rohit Sharma is 36 years old.
Yes.
And whatever he has done in the World Cup, hats off to him, but his fitness levels have dropped down.
Yeah.
I don't see him playing the 2027 World Cup. Definitely.
2025 Champions Trophy?
I want him to play that and win an ICC trophy. He deserves it.
Yes.
He deserves it. Whatever he has done for Indian
He won
cricket.
an ICC trophy already.
Yeah,
so don't forget
2007.
that. 2013
And 13.
Champions Trophy.
Both-
Champions
both-
Trophy,
two-
okay.
two trophies.
But as a captain, he has won 2 Asia Cups.
But can you risk having someone who's not going to captain you in the World Cup next cycle as captain for the next 2 years? And who will you give the baton to?
But then Rohit Sharma became your captain 2 years ago.
Exactly, that's my point. Yes, you can.
2
take
years
that
are
risk.
2 years are more than enough to
Yeah.
prepare for a World
No,
Cup.
that's a long time frame. I
Yeah.
agree. But
What about Shami? What about?
But I think there is another difference between. I agree with Saurabh that that's a long time frame. But Rohit Sharma was already an established cricketer across formats by the time he took over as captain, and maybe he also did not take as long to imbibe his
And he was
style
also
on the
leading
rest of the team.
He was also leading the team on and off.
Exactly, and but even then it took time. The others were not quite reactive to playing a little more quickly. But you have someone like Hardik Pandya. I love that character. I mean, had Hardik Pandya been fit, imagine India might have even thought of playing 3 spinners
Yes, definitely.
in the final.
Yeah.
It's because, again, then you would have looked at Bumrah, Shami, Hardik, and then 3 spinners. Hardik allows you to do that sort of balancing act with the squad. And I like his approach. Even I was talking about the T20 World Cup semi-final against England last year. Hardik came out and bashed them.
Yeah.
Rishabh Pant is a similar character as well. So
Let's not
going
forget
forward,
Rishabh Pant.
you would need these characters to come up and stay. Even Shreyas Iyer played a poor shot,
Yeah.
got out. Again, that was a nothing shot literally. But again, he won't swallow balls like that. Shubman Gill, I think again he was overawed by the World Cup.
Yeah.
Super form throughout. He played some vital innings. You can't take that away from that young guy. But with KL Rahul, I will have my reservations. I mean, I'm sorry we asked a lot of these questions throughout the campaign, throughout the sledging room, but you have to nip that in the bud and say that, look, do you want someone to do that to you in a final?
And if Coach Rahul Dravid is okay continuing,
I think
would
he
you
should.
give him another 2 years or maybe
Why
1
not?
year?
Definitely. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, in his first year, you play T20 Asia Cup, T20 World Cup, you failed there.
Yeah.
You reached semi-final T20 World Cup, you won a near game against Pakistan. In the ODI format, you saw what he has done.
And let's not forget, as in, we have to be fair with our criticism. Yes, we asked questions about whether he is the right man for the T20 format. But in the ODI format, so many injuries. Captain was not available for a couple of series.
And with that point, I want to point it out. You take VS Lakshman on those different tours as your stand-in coach.
Yeah.
Why not have a different T20I coach and let Dravid remain the ODI coach and test coach?
Yeah, maybe split coaching.
Who knows? That could happen. That could happen because
That's
again,
a good point. Yes.
It's a good point. That maybe they will look at doing something like that because you're looking at split teams as well.
Yes.
Probably you're looking at split captaincy once Rohit Sharma steps away.
Yeah.
Or decides to step away. I mean, I hope that's not very soon because he's shown what he's
I still think
capable
that Rohit can go to Caribbean next year for the T20 World Cup.
maybe with this kind of batting
Yeah,
approach.
I mean,
maybe even Virat will. Who knows?
But Virat again, as in, do you have scope for anchor? As in, Virat thinks that there is scope for anchoring in T20 format as well.
But again, look at the way he approached the IPL. Maybe he's looking to change his T20 approach as well. Because don't forget, Virat has not always been like that in the T20 format. It's just over the last year and a half or so that you started to question what these guys were doing in the middle.
But I think it's time to get those Rinku Singhs and all of them.
This will give you a good perspective, by the way. Maybe by the time the podcast drops on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you never know. You will have Riyan Parag and Rinku Singh lining up, Ruturaj Gaikwad. These guys have been phenomenal.
Yashasvi Jaiswal.
Young blood is...
I want to ask you this question also, both of you. Australia started with defeats to India and South Africa. Bottom of the points table. As in, a lot of us genuinely
and
thought...
ended with wins against South Africa and India.
South Africa and India. A lot of us genuinely thought, okay, these are not the champion material. But what makes this team the ruthless, as in, not the ruthless, but clutch moments mein, have you seen a better side than Australia in cricket?
No.
Men and women combined.
Mumbai Indians,
Mumbai,
T20s.
yes.
And Chennai Super Kings.
Chennai Super Kings,
They do it. Somehow they do it.
Somehow
they
they
win
do it.
championships.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing with Australia. That's exactly why. There's no shame in losing to Australia.
Yes.
It's just that India, before I get to Australia, I think you have to give credit to India. Phenomenal campaign. Some of those
They
victories,
can certainly
they
be
can
proud
take a
of
lot of
what they
pride
have done.
from
Yes.
what they've done. They should hold their heads high. Look, before the World Cup, not a lot of people would have given them this kind of a chance. 10 out of 10. I bet even, we were over
as in a couple of weeks ago, as in 1, 2, 3 days ago, all of us were discussing whether this is the greatest World Cup team.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to still hold that, right? What happened in the final comes down to mindset. Even with KL Rahul has been phenomenal as a wicketkeeper. DRS has been spot on. He's been a good leader alongside Rohit and Virat Kohli. He's marshaled the troops. All of them have done phenomenally well. It's a collective unit. You can't fault anyone. It's the final. Probably the mind games. Probably the intimidation from Australia. Their fielding was top notch. Just didn't let anything get past into the fences. And I think it's just down to Australia's planning.
Yes.
And their ability to win big games. Look at the side, for instance. Mitchell Starc, Steve Smith, they've all been around. Pat Cummins, they know how to win world championships. They all just recently won the World Test Championship. They won the T20 World Cup. Yes, that ODI World Cup win came in 2015, long time back, but they know how to get behind their own players and back up their plans. And one thing that they knew was, look, you have to, and Pat Cummins was very right when he said that, look, you have nearly 100,000 people supporting India and you have to silence them. And they walked the talk. But it's been a phenomenal campaign. This is, like I said last week, this is perhaps for me one of the greatest World Cups ever. You will remember this as a story of endurance for India, story of high dizzying skills for India, a story of a heartbreak at the end. But you have to also give credit to Australia. They were nowhere.
One of the greatest World Cup in
men's
ODI.
Probably,
it is.
Possibly.
And
they finished. They were 10th in the points table at one stage after 2 wins. After 2 losses.
About Pat Cummins also.
Questions were asked about Pat Cummins, David Warner, everybody. And here they are, world champions. This has got to be one of the greatest World Cup campaigns ever for Australia and India.
And you have to credit Australian coach Andrew McDonald. That man has done a great job along with his coaching staff and Pat Cummins as a leader. Top notch. In a World Cup final, you lead.
You turned up.
And the way he bowled, that was phenomenal. And this Australian side. But this Australian side, they would also be worried, even after winning this World Cup, that now a lot of these players are in the last stage of their career. You talk about David Warner, you talk about Steve Smith, you talk about Pat Cummins. Not Pat Cummins.
Glenn Maxwell as well.
Glenn Maxwell as well.
Yes.
You talk about Mitchell Starc. So,
and look at all these players, they stepped up at different times. David Warner did. Mitchell Starc had a torrid campaign. And he steps up in the semi-final and the final. Travis Head was out injured. He joins the team late and we are wondering, what can a guy do? He's a half-fit guy. Comes in 100 on debut in the World Cup. And then he wins 50. Man of the Match awards in the semi-final and the final. Pat Cummins, not so good throughout the campaign. At a clutch moment, in that last spell against South Africa, he delivers some heroics. And then he was superb. And I told you, on that Ahmedabad pitch, Pat Cummins was going to be the danger guy.
And
with his cutters and mixers.
Before the final, ICC interviewed Steve Smith. They asked him, why are Australia so good in ICC tournaments? They have won so many. He's like, it's in our DNA. It doesn't matter what we do and all it is. When we turn up for a final semi-final, we are there to win it.
But anyway, we were talking about this and we discussed this in one of our previous episodes. Was that one team that could possibly defeat India? That was Australia.
Yeah.
That was Australia.
But frankly speaking, it didn't look like before Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, we were all hopeful that,
But
okay,
I also told you, I would rather face South Africa or New Zealand in the final than Australia because chasing 240 South Africa might
I
have
hope the team didn't
bundled
think that
it.
way. I hope the team didn't think that way.
No, I don't think so. And I think they were supremely confident. I thought there was a great atmosphere in the dressing room.
Yeah.
It's just that when they were in the middle,
And
I don't want to blame any individual player.
No.
You shouldn't. It's a team game, team sport. But I think that partnership.
Yeah, that's why it's like there's no shame for India in, losing to this
There's no
Australian
shame
side.
at all. This has been a great World Cup campaign. And like we said, this defeat on Sunday can't take away all their achievements for the last so many years, or especially this World Cup. I think what you need to look at in retrospect is how these guys now turn into world beaters and champions by winning these big moments, by winning these big games.
Yeah.
That has to come. Otherwise, India was superb in the last two cycles of the World Test Championship, lost in the final. The fact is that they are the only team to have reached both WTC finals. The others couldn't.
Yes.
And in the first final, the first championship, India defeated Australia in Australia. Then they went on to defeat England in England. At least draw that. They managed to draw that series. They won everything at home. So you have to give credit to this Indian team for doing everything so nicely. And then you're going into the knockouts. There is something that is stopping them. Is that a mental block? Is that a lot of nerves? What is it? Hopefully, somebody will be able to figure it out. And maybe the next season of the Sledging Room will discuss only trophies and silverware for Indian cricket.
Hopefully. Not just the
Fingers
IPL trophy, but yes, some ICC titles and other world titles as well.
Okay. Quickly before we sign off and bring the curtain down on season 1, what has been your most enduring moment for Indian cricket over the last year and a half? It could be the IPL as well, Chennai Super Kings.
Regardless of whatever happened in this tournament, the captain Rohit Sharma and his face and his evolution after taking over captaincy at a very late stage of his career, the ruthlessness with which he played, the manner in which he gave role clarity to everyone, which was lacking in 2019, so it's incredibly lacking in 2019, the manner in which he gave role clarity, I still think, like we discussed, one of the bravest performance by a captain in a World Cup.
Saurabh?
Mohammad Shami. He has been my favorite man in whatever happened in 1.5 years. I mean, he did not play Asia Cup, I think.
Yeah.
Man was benched for 4 World Cup games.
First 2 Australia ODIs before the World Cup.
He picked up 5-wicket haul in the third ODI. He then gets benched for first 3 or 4 World Cup group games. He turns up against New Zealand. Had Mohammad Shami not turned up to that game, we would have been chasing something around 300 plus. And that would have been really difficult. We might have lost that game. So you got to create Mohammad Shami. He has been terrific in this campaign. Even in the World Cup final, he was the one who gave you that breakthrough.
No, I will go by the journey of the Sledging Room because this is where it all started, right? Where we started asking these questions. Yes, last year was disappointing in a lot of ways. We could not quite do it in the Asia Cup. We could not quite do it in the T20 World Cup. Then we prepped up and built it up to the IPL. CSK had a pretty rough season in 2022. For them to bounce back and win that championship under the leadership of MS Dhoni, heroics from Jadeja in the final, heroics from a lot of the young guns as well. Ruturaj Gaikwad has just blossomed into such a fine young cricketer. It has to be, one of those moments as well. Dhoni finally leading the Super Kings to another title. Also the fact that Virat Kohli, despite that criticism, all that criticism, including from us in the Sledging Room, what's happening? Where are the runs? Where's the strike rate? This, that. He was superb in the IPL. Superb. Even in the IPL. Right? He was gutted when RCB could not quite get past Gujarat Titans and possibly, I think they failed to reach the knockouts.
Shubman Gill 100.
In
Ahmedabad.
In Bangalore.
In Bangalore.
And then from there on, for Virat Kohli to continuously build that momentum. Before that also, he started the year in fine fettle. Shubman Gill, the emergence of Shubman Gill as a real international cricket star, number 1 ODI batter now, The way he started that year, double hundred, hundreds here, hundreds there, T20 100 against Australia in Ahmedabad, the World Test Championship. It just, encapsulated the growth of Indian cricket. And then from there on, Virat Kohli continues his golden run. The Asia Cup, Pakistan, defeating Pakistan with that kind of margin. And then you really showed the gulf that exists between India and Pakistan there, lifting that Siraj heroic again in that Asia Cup final. It was just one of the most mind-boggling bowling efforts. That 6-4, just done and dusted. And that World Cup, it was there for India to win it. Nerves for a couple of hours, 3 hours on Sunday afternoon. But cannot take away anything from India's superlative efforts here. Superlative efforts. Virat Kohli again. 765 runs at a time when a lot of critics actually wrote him off, saying, it was all David Warner, Quinton de Kock, Rachin Ravindra going up, and then suddenly Virat Kohli just takes off. He's unstoppable. Rohit Sharma to score nearly 600 runs at a strike rate of 125. Who could have thought? Shami, like you said, wasn't even considered for the first 4 matches. He only probably played that game against New Zealand because Hardik Pandya was out injured.
Yes.
And you needed 2 players to replace someone of Hardik Pandya's ability and quality. And he comes in, picks up a 5 wicket, and he didn't look back. It was just outstanding. It was outstanding.
Yes. Somebody tell me that Ravi said played with a spring bat. Tomorrow I go to school again, and then everybody discussing a rematch.
But that's the thing about sport. You hope again, you rise again. I was in school in 2003, and I thought I would never watch another cricket match after that. And then 2007 happened.
Yes.
And I thought I'm never going to watch cricket again.
And 11 happened.
But I was watching, I was screaming my lungs out, yelling my lungs out in the next match India played after that. Then 2007 T20 World Cup happened. So sports gives you hope. And then 2011 happened, 2013 happened. Then came the emergence of Virat Kohli. So there is always hope. We live in hope.
Then came Rishabh Pant.
Now Shubman Gill.
Yes.
And there is still a lot of Bumrah and Siraj and Shami and Kuldeep and Jadeja to unfold. There's still a lot of Ashwin in Test cricket. You will see a lot of those heroics. So, yes, you rise again. You hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah, this decade has been a decade where we failed to win IC trophy, failing in the clutch moments. I hope next decade will be India's decade. We'll be winning 3-4 World Cups. Who knows? 2 World Cups, IC trophies, T20 World Cups, Champions trophies, everything. Never know.
Hammer Australia and Australia in a test series.
Oh, that will happen.
That will definitely happen. Beating Australia in a test series is not a problem for India.
Yes. That is a mental block for Australia now.
Exactly. But I think, again, let's
end on
it was heartbreaking. It was disappointing because we love Indian cricket so much, but we love our cricketers. They've delivered some stunning performances.
But there are signs.
There are signs. There are Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, all of these guys. Surya Kumar Yadav. Okay, we were a little harsh. No, we asked the right questions, but we all know these cricketers, they want to go out there and win.
Go get us that T20 World Cup.
Ravindra Jadeja, Kuldeep Yadav, exactly. Just with Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, all of them. Even the guys who didn't play a lot of cricket in the World Cup, R. Ashwin and Shardul Thakur, you got a feel for them. Prasita Krishna, he came in and joined the team later. But what a champion side this is. Hopefully the silverware will keep coming over the next decade. There's, like you mentioned, the last decade. In the next decade, there's a lot of ICC tournaments lined up. So hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed.
Maybe we'll get, one day they will come where we'll get bored of India winning ICC trophies.
It will come.
I want to be that bored.
Okay, just another match report. India won the T20 World Cup final.
Okay, it's good that we are signing off the first season of the Sledging Room with smiles and laughters, because we admire the Indian team for what they've done. We admire the Indian cricket setup for what it has done. Fantastic World Cup, fantastic tournament, fantastic performances. Australia, deserving world champions because they held their nerves on the final day. India, superb, absolutely superb. They also deserve to win the World Cup. Look, but wasn't to happen, but it will.
Yeah, like you said, that's sport.
That's sport. Indian cricket is on the right path, is on the right track, and the sun will come out again tomorrow.
Definitely.
On that note, we're going to bring the curtain down on season 1 of the Sledging Room. There'll be more, obviously. Season 2 will hit the airwaves soon. And like you've done all through these 86 episodes, if you're consuming this episode on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to us on, please do leave your reviews and your comments. And you're watching us on YouTube. You will continue to watch us on YouTube because now we're here for posterity. Even though this season has come to an end, do leave your comments. Do let us know how you felt the first season went and what do you want us to do in season 2 of the Sledging Room. Thank you. Have a great week ahead.
You are on India Today Podcasts, and you are in the Sledging Room.